Okay, so this is going to be a video going over my tier list for the Super Autopets Basic Pack. I've made a lot of tier lists, but this is definitely the final one, for sure. Not really, because they'll probably patch something at some point, but for the current time being, this is going to be what the tier list is. It's already done, so you don't have to skip to the end of the video to actually see everything. I'm just going to go over like a quick explanation for why I think everything is where it is. So starting off, we got Rooster, which I think is just the best unit in the game. Its scaling is just out of control. If you get it to 50-50, you get it to level 3, you have a 50 attack unit that spawns 3 more 50 attack units. That's like 200 damage worth of attack there. It's just kind of broken. There's a couple counters to it, like Fly and Splash Attack, but both of those are actually pretty hard to like perfectly set up correctly. The second best unit in the game, I think, is the Tiger. It just works well with so many builds, and it pretty much doubles the level of any unit. So you can go like Tiger Snake, Tiger Turkey, Tiger Dolphin, whatever you want to do. If you put a Tiger behind it, then suddenly a level 2 becomes like a level 4, level 3 is like a level 6. It just works extremely well with a lot of builds, and can make things kind of OP. So third is Duck. I think Duck strats for the beginning of the game are extremely strong, and it's really hard to compete with. It is possible, I think, but you just have to get like some really good scaling, and I think is much more consistent to actually just go for Duck strats. Despite the fact that if everyone goes Duck strats, then it feels like it's really up to RNG, but if you don't go Duck strats and someone does like go Duck strats, then it's really easy to see that Duck strats are kind of OP. So I think it's really necessary for the beginning game, and I think it's like the only reason that the base pets are actually better than the pay to win pack at the moment. So it's really like pay to lose. Snake, S tier, because it counters Tiger, Turkey, Fly. It's pretty much the only thing that really does. Maybe you can get like a Tiger Leopard to do that as well, but it can just absolutely destroy a lot of builds. It does so much damage. Even a level 2 with the Tiger deals 20 damage every attack. You have a strong unit at front with melon armor, you put a Fly at the back, you're getting 3 triggers off of it, which is something like 60 damage, or like 90 if it's level 3, which usually will completely wipe someone's team. I also have Cow in S tier. It is just the best way to scale units. You get a cat, you get a cow, suddenly you're giving a unit +8/+8 in just a single turn. Anytime you see cow, you're pretty much just happy, and as long as you have space for it, it's just a great way to buff units. And then Monkey is an A tier. It's again great scaling. The only problem is you have to put the unit in front, which can be countered by Scorpion if you don't have melon armor. But then again, you can just look for that early turtle and then pill it, or you can try to get a dolphin. But there's always the case that maybe they invested in cans, so the dolphin doesn't work unless if you like level it up. So that's the only reason I don't have Monkey in S tier. It's still an extremely good unit, and pretty much you always want to take it if you can get one early on. Cat is just extremely good scaling. If you get some cats, you get some cans. You can actually have extremely strong shop units early on. Well, not like early on, but late game. I've seen Fengar get like 50-50 shops a whole bunch of times. Just that makes it really easy to scale like a leopard or something. But cat's very good. Dog is, I think, like the best or second best, like between Dodo. Dog and Dodo are exactly what you want from Duck strats. Because Duck strats are so good, that's what makes these units so good. They wouldn't be quite as good if you didn't have Duck strats. I especially think Dodo would get a huge nerf if they actually nerfed Ducks. But at the time being, like, just getting that scaled Dodo early on, and then maybe you can chain some Dodos, like, they're both just really good. Turkey, like, even though Tiger, Turkey, Fly can be kind of countered by a Snake, if you invest in some cans, get some 1-ups, like, it's possible to kind of survive, and it's still a really good build, because if they don't have that, like, Tiger Snake, then you'll just destroy most other builds. Swan, again, works really well with Duck strats, just gives you free money, which is always going to be helpful. Dragon, as long as you can get like a level 2 dragon, that's when I think the scaling really like ramps up and is worth it a lot. But level 1 dragon, like, it's half decent scaling, but a lot of times you want to like re-roll for units you already have to level them up. Scorpion is just an easy counter. You put like a Scorpion wherever you think their strongest unit is going to be, and it's kind of like a big play on where they're gonna place it, just like trying to read your opponent. But if you get it right, you know, buying 3 gold to like take out their strongest unit that they've tried to buff a lot can really be worth it. Turtle, super good just to get early melon armor. You just you freeze a pill if you want to on like turn 4 or 5. You just roll for a turtle, and I think it works really well in versus to get early melon armor. Crab, again, goes pretty well with duck meta. You can just put like the dodo crab and then like a dog at the front, and you have like 2 really strong units. Ox, again, goes well with dodo. It's free melon armor, so you get the attack buff from the dodo, and suddenly you have like a really strong attack unit that's pretty much guaranteed to live early on with melon armor. Snail, one of the few comeback mechanics in the game. There's a few ways to like counter builds, but I think snail is just the easiest way to try to get a comeback. If you freeze a couple snails in the shop, then suddenly your team is going to be really well statted the next round. So it actually makes like losing not really a bad thing. Sometimes you even want to lose so you can get those free buffs. Fly is an interesting unit. I at first thought, you know, you just want to go turkey fly, but it turns out fly can counter rooster if the rooster is only level 2. If it's level 3, you get a level 2 fly, and that can still counter it. And if you put a fly with a snake build, you get an automatic extra attack from that snake because of fly spawn. So it actually has a couple of nice units, and I find myself using it a lot, even though I'm not running a turkey. Okay, so B tier, I'm not going to go over everything in B tier, but Badger B, very good. Kangaroo, it's kind of like Crab, you just put it behind a strong unit, it's nice. Dolphin to counter Scorpion. Otter is the best way to kind of like counterplay duck meta, where if you get an early level 2 Otter, that's some really nice scaling. +2/+2 to a random unit. It can be very helpful. Rabbit, if you go crab build, can be pretty good. Fish, just good for the early stats. You level it up, you also buff everything. Deer is, you know, splash attack, that's pretty good. Skunk, also a nice counterplay. Like, if someone's just relying on one really strong unit, and you also have like a strong unit but slightly weaker and you want to trade, you just place the skunk. Ant, it's just a solid starting unit. You can also pill it for permanent buffs. Crocodile, occasionally pretty helpful to counter maybe like a Badger B or something. Whale is just kind of fun, but like I don't think it's super good. You can occasionally run like whale deer if you have a tiger, or I mean if you go like with the turkey build. Leopard, if you can get a tiger leopard late game and you invest in like hands with the cat or something, or you just have like a great method of scaling it with monkeys, then a tiger leopard is a great end game thing. It deals a ton of damage. Penguin, it's got like, you know, a version of scaling. If you can get a level 2 penguin, then suddenly your team is really scaling. That's always nice. Worm is only in B tier if you get it early. You have to get like a round 5, maybe 6 worm, and if you have like a rabbit, that also would be pretty nice. And then you can kind of outscale everyone, but it's pretty risky because you might lose those middle rounds. Mosquito is a nice little counterplay to ant, but that's assuming people don't go duck strats. Flamingo, another just good pill unit. Beaver, I'm not really sure why I put Beaver in B tier. It's just like a decent buy sell if you're going with shrimp build maybe. Shark, just decent base stats. It starts out as what, like a 4/4, but it gets +8/+4, so you automatically have like a 12/8 if you have 5 units. Giraffe is just like, it's some version of scaling, so it can't really be too bad, but a lot of times Giraffe will be outscaled if you just go like cans. Bison, just nice to have that automatic scaling. The problem is you don't always have a good level 3. If you can get like a level 3 Swan, then definitely you can like run a Bison. And then Shrimp, it kind of works with the dog, but sometimes I find that like it doesn't really always hit the unit that you want, and sometimes it just ends up being useless if it does. So it's not always worth it to go with the shrimp, but it can obviously work kind of well with dog. So C tier, I'm not really going to discuss too much. I just think there are a bunch of mediocre units that you kind of just take if you have to. But most of the time I kind of avoid it. Like Pig has that one purpose of just buy sell. Mammoth you can kind of pill, but like the rest of the units, not really too worth buying. And then the reason Camel's in D tier, I just think its hurt effect is not good at all. Like +1/+2 is not much, and most of the time people will just rely on a really strong unit that will take you out in just one hit, and it's a tier 3, so it's not even like an early unit. Parrot, it's just a much worse version of Tiger. Really very rare you actually want to go for it. You can maybe like parrot a turkey early on before you unlock Tiger, but you're gonna not use it for very long. Seal is just like random scaling is not very good, and it's not very much scaling either. And then Squirrel, despite the fact that the Squirrel actually has a use, it's really still not very useful. Like, you buy a Squirrel on turn 9 because you want chocolate, it fills it up and you get no chocolate, and it's just a waste of money. Like, the odds are not very good that you actually get what you want for some reason. But, occasionally it can work, and so it's not completely useless. A lot of the things in the game aren't completely useless, but still, it's like you hardly ever buy them. And when you do, you're pretty disappointed. But that's a quick overview of my tier list. I hope that they do patch things out. I hope that they nerf ducks. I hope that they nerf roosters. And then if they want to, they can just buff all these weaker units like Camel and Seal and stuff. And it might change the meta and make the game more fun. That's ideally what happens, right? You kind of want the game to be ever evolving. But anyway, thanks for watching. See ya.